I like salad. Do you like salad?
Welcome to Canadian Salad,
a fun, factual, and friendly podcast about culture and integration in Canada.
I'm one of your hosts. I'm Ho Shen Ho from China, currently living in Vancouver, unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations.
And I'm your other host, Andrea McCoy, an immigrant from the United States and broadcasting you from the unceded traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations.
And you're listening to
Canadian Salad!
Welcome to Canadian Salad.
Welcome back, everyone. First Canadian full episode salad of the year 2025.
See, we're continue giving you everything that you need.
So much.
And everything that you don't think you even need.
Exactly. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't even know, like, we actually invested in new recording software and we are crossing our fingers and toes that this software works. So this is going to be a really juicy year, Hoshin. And I'm excited. We're going to start with some juicy hot dog, like the real wieners of DEI. Do you like that?
Wiener.
Wieners, yes.
It's also like a sexual pun.
It could be. But in this one, we're kind of using it. Okay, yes, it is. But for this episode, we're going to use it for the recent case that is, as of now, coming out of the States, but does have a global impact on all its stores. Costco, the major, big, massive warehouse sales retail. What'd you even call them? They're not even a store. They're like
retail store. I was saying a retail store.
Okay, yeah. So recently there was a conservative think tank. We'll get into a bit more about them. But they proposed major companies to review and reject their DEI policies. So Walmart has rejected their DEI policies. John Deere, which, do you know what John Deere is? Do you know?
I don't know. Is that an American thing?
It is an American thing. It's
Is it like shoppers or something?
Tractors, farming equipment.
It's farming, so I surprise.
Yeah, I know. So they rejected it, but Costco is refusing to. And we're going to unpack why and why it's important that Costco continues to do it. So a big company making big waves. So have you ever shopped at Costco or been to Costco, Hoshin?
Yeah, I mean, I also am Costco membership, and I have the executive membership, by the way.
You have a Costco membership?
Yeah, executive
serious?
too, not the most basic one. Yes, because my place, I live about maybe 10, 15 minutes walk from Costco. I'm close to Costco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I used to have it when I lived with people. I did. I had a domestic partner membership with my roommate of 6 years. And so we got a joint membership. But it was nice because you could just buy lots of stuff cheaply. Bulk. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now you have a family. Why not?
So here's the thing with Costco and me. I love their hot dogs. Are really good. But anytime I go there, the Ocean, or on this different wavelength of just, I don't know if it's consumerism, but I get so many rude people, people honking at me in the parking lot. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm done with y'all. I don't know. It's just privileged, demandy kind of sentiment that I feel. And I felt that not only at the Victoria one, but even at the ones in the States. So it's not unique to location, but maybe it's just my own thing. But I have heard that it's a great employer. So I'm like, cool. But maybe it's just the consumer culture that I don't like.
I mean, people also usually want to experience bad experience also in the parking lot. Usually I never really experienced anything rude inside Costco.
Yeah,
just usually
that's good.
In the parking space. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Also, when I go to Costco, I would just shop and go. I just go to things that I want and then I get out of there. It's not
sure. You know what you want.
Shop. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't for me, no one else exists. I just want to get to my destination and where I want what I want to get, and then out of there.
Sure.
So I never really experienced other things.
Okay.
Other than that, all I know about Costco, yes, the hot dog, and I think everyone knows that story about they refused to raise the hot dog price. The CEO literally was saying that, I'm going to kill you. Oh, the founder, I believe. The founder told the CEO that, if you raise the hot dog price, we're going to kill you. Kind of situation.
He threatened to kill him?
Yeah, I think he said that. He apparently told co-founder and then CEO Jim Sinegal that they needed to raise the price of hot dog because they were losing money by selling the iconic $1.50 hot dog and soda combo. But Senegal, again, the co-founder and then CEO, was not in favor of the change. So the CEO, he said, if you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out. That's all I really need.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's extreme, but it does. We'll get in. It is. I mean, over a hot dog, over wieners.
I know.
Like it's a bit touchy. Yes. Yeah.
I know.
But yes, that is. And so I think that is a really good segue into the history of Costco, because before we unpack this whole DEI situation that's happening in the States and that could impact Canada and its hiring practices as well, I thought we could go down a little founding information, the history of Costco. Because it's actually very, very interesting. If people don't know, Costco is a Seattle-based company that was founded in 1976. There were like a few names of it before that started out smaller, but Costco itself was founded in 1976. And its whole purpose was to provide lower prices to business owners for goods, right? In Canada, there's over 10 million members in Canada, averaging $25 billion in sales per year. And if you actually go onto Glassdoor, the most recent Glassdoor 2024 actually says that very high rating reviews for it being an employer. Says it's a positive place for employment, with over 74% recommending it as a place to work. So this kind of touches into kind of what I had heard about Costco itself. But what's very, very fascinating is the actual founder of Costco. So his name was Sol Price, and he was the son of Jewish immigrants who landed in New York. Okay, so son of an immigrant, big business. Do you see where we're going with this? Anyway, it's lovely. His family moved from the Bronx to San Diego.
The Bronx.
I know, the Bronx. What's really, really interesting is that actually when he founded Costco, he went against the grain of a lot of retail organizations. And I'm going to pull up actual quote here that I can show everyone. Here we go. So the founder was very much about creating membership fees, fewer SKUs in stock, much larger sizes of their products, and extremely low profit margins, bordering on break even, actually, which ties into the hot dog price, how he's like, no, we're going to keep this, because they wanted to create low employee turnover and a lean labor model, right? His overall stance was, though, I want to create a business that is about the customer relationship, right? Whereas most retailers saw customers as adversaries or people just to sell to, he actually saw things differently. He felt like we need to be on the customer's side. We need to be the customer's friend and advocate. And in return, a customer will pledge their loyalty back. It was that if you give trust, that trust is given by your consumer if you earn it.
Yes.
So which was a very, very different idea. A lot of companies like Walmart and bigger retailers actually followed and adopted Price's model of low prices and making things more affordable with very actually low profit margins. So what's really cool about this founder, which speaks to the kind of person that he is and kind of the culture that was created originally in Costco, was, I'm going to share this other thing, was that the founder grew up it's called City Heights in San Diego. And when he had quite a bit of money to share, this is him on the screen. This is Sol Price. In 1994, he actually invested and was a part of a revitalization community project to improve the social living conditions of the 74,000 residents who were primarily refugees and immigrants from Latin America, Asia, and East Africa. So the founder, Sol Price, wanted to reinvest his funds into the home and neighborhood that he lived in, which was a home of like lots of refugees, immigrants, whatnot. And so I thought that was actually a really beautiful thing to learn about the founder, and knowing now,
it's pretty cute,
right? Like the ways in which he wanted to create a more sustainable work model, but he was about the customer. Right. And I think it's really, really important that we think about this as we go into what's happening with Costco. So, so basically what has happened is that there's a conservative think tank out of the States called the National Center for Public Policy Research. Their background is that it was founded by Amy Ridenor. She was a veteran organizer of the Republican National Committee starting in 1981. She was pro-tobacco and anti-environment.
Okay.
Strong anti-Muslim sentiments. And she recently passed away and her husband took over, directing the organization. If you look them up, you can look them up, NCPPR. There was actually a lot of ethics cases brought out on them spending money that was a conflict of interest with elected officials. Lots of ethical things going on. They are a member of the advisory board of Project 2025. Okay, so Project 2025, if you folks don't know, is Trump's agenda plan.
I know, cute.
Yes, exactly. This organization also hosts the global warming denial website called EnviroTruth. So they do deny climate change. They think it's a hoax. They think it's just a way to make poor Americans pay out of their pockets. So these are the people that are coming against Mr. Descendant of Jewish immigrants giving back to his community in San Diego. Any thoughts before we kind of pick apart what Costco's response has been?
I kind of thought, many thoughts, obviously.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I don't know whether this podcast is going to be enough timing for all those thoughts, but I just want to say, one thing that I think a lot of people think like DEI is like, we should enroll people based on who they are, based on what they can do. But the thing is, it's not fair because we're born not fairly.
Right.
If you're born white or you're born black, the community, or you're born in rich family, born in a lower income family, you're not born equally. That means the opportunities, the time, the energy that you have as a person to grow, to learn, to be who you are when you're actually at the age of it and enrolling to university, you are not giving the same time, energy, environment, opportunity. So don't tell me, university, everyone's equal. We should enroll them as who they are. That is, as you mentioned, is a load of BS because none of us are born equally.
No, not in this side of the world.
No side of the world, unless you're born, I don't know, in Mars, where nothing is there.
True.
The thing is, that's why DEI exists, because it's acknowledging the reality that we're not born equal. So then we need something in place to make sure that that inequality is addressed. So we can actually hire people, enroll people based on their, based on the inequality, based on the reality that everyone is in.
Yeah. So to get briefly into the proposal, so the Costco board of directors was asked to, quote, evaluate and issue a report on the financial risks of maintaining its diversity and inclusion goals. The group, the research group, quote unquote, criticized Costco for possible, quote, illegal discrimination against employees who were white, Asian, male, or straight, end quote. Just poor white tears here is what it is.
I know.
It is.
Are the Asians too? Really? They discriminate Asians? I don't know. I'm like, guys, I've looked at your board, your panelists, like people on your governance level. I'm not seeing much diversity there. So the Costco's chief diversity officer, okay, and this is why it's so important to have representation at the very top of an organization if you really want to implement true DEI and inclusion practices. They responded. He said that they actually have supplier programs for small and medium-sized businesses, which majority of those are immigrant-founded or people of color. And they actually make a large donations every year to the Thurgood Marshall College Fund that serves minorities and underrepresented groups. So he's saying we actually know this is part of our DEI policy is not unethical. We understand the risks already because we understand what it is to not make a butt ton of money off of food and products, because we haven't been doing that since we began, because we're we're an organization for people, for the customers. And so I just want to share their response to the actual, this is from CNN. So the founder said that basically the statement that this organization is making says that this organization is the one responsible for inflicting burdens on companies with their challenges to longstanding diversity programs. Their agenda
is not reducing risk for the company, but actually abolition of diversity initiatives. Basically saying you're not about, financial risk. That's just a smokescreen. That's just something you want to put up there and make people think, yeah, finance. But the reality is, no, you just want to abolish any kind of diversity initiative because you're pro-MAGA and you don't like people of color, essentially. Right? He goes on to say that representation is really important, and that's why it's important that we have and maintain our DEI initiatives. So basically, January 23rd is the date set for the shareholders and members to actually vote on the actual proposal that was submitted to the board. So essentially, hopefully, if enough pressure and support, I would say enough support to Costco, like it's so easy to make a complaint, but if you can champion an organization that is doing the right thing, we need to be doing that because they're voting on January 3rd of this month, and which means it could go either way. Walmart has already completely done away with their DEI. Some people say that they're going to rebrand it. But I highly doubt that's actually going to be the case when majority of the employees and staff are people from the global majority. So
it really hurts, isn't it? Imagine you are like a poor minority, like Asian woman, single mother that shops at Walmart all the time because it's had low price. And then you realize Walmart actually doesn't really care about you at all.
Nope.
And then all this money you give to Walmart that you sometimes give to this organization, and they use like literally put a finger in your face.
Yeah. And if you're a staff member, right? Like if you're same Asian woman, let's say you're working there, you could be mistreated. You could have your salary, totally, unfair wages because one, you're a female and one, a visible minority. You could be given terrible working conditions and you'd have nowhere to go. Yeah. Right? Because there's no protections.
Because the DEI is not there. They're not going to protect you. Or if you receive some hate speech from your supervisor, there's nothing you can do. It's awful.
It is awful. And companies have paid. So there are a lot of big companies that I want to just break down very quickly the cost of not having DEI. And then we'll kind of really unpack what DEI does, what we were doing. So Diversity Resources, it's a website out of Denver, Colorado. They had a really good breakdown of some more recent case studies of bigger organizations who have lost lots of money because they didn't have their DEI. So Pinterest actually paid out $25.2 million for discrimination and unfair firing of their woman COO for gender bias. In 2021, Google paid out $3.8 million for unfair pay towards women and Asian employees. So, which for Google, $3.8 million is a drop in the bucket, but it's still a lot of money that could have been gone to something else, right?
True.
Coca-Cola in 2001 actually faced the largest race lawsuit involving unfair pay and discriminatory business practice, amounting to a settlement of $192 million.
Wow.
And even right now, the government of Canada, I haven't been following the story too closely, but right now there were a lot of Black former federal employees who are filing lawsuits against the Canadian government for discriminatory practices, for racism, for oppression within government spaces. And last I heard that they were going before Parliament, and I'm not exactly sure what's that. I need to double check that. But again, there goes taxpayers' money towards court systems that we could avoid this if we just actually created better systems and better protections for people within the organization. Another recent case was 2015, Abercrombie and Fitch. Did you ever shop there?
I have, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Same. When I was like in high school, many years ago. They refused to hire a Muslim woman because she wore a hijab. And they had to pay out over $40,000 in settlement and court costs just because they were racist and biased and wouldn't do anything. Like, and there's more. Like, there's cases against people from the queer community. More, yes. Cases against people with disabilities. Cases against people against religion, right? Like, there's just so many. I think it's really, really important that we have to understand that DEI is not this, like, I'm just trying to think.
Woke agenda.
And for what? Like, what is the threat? I don't understand the threat. I don't understand why people are so knee-jerk, like yelly, screamy, because someone with a different skin tone or a different capacity or different ability or social income status gets the same opportunity as me. Like, I just don't understand that.
Because for the oppressor, someone else's getting equal opportunity for them is oppression, because they have been enjoying all these privileges. Now, when this unfair privilege that were given to them is taken away, for them, that's oppression. Even though that privilege they never earn it. They did not deserve it anyway. And now this privilege given out to everyone else's, and then they feel like they're being oppressed.
Because it was always their privilege to begin with, but it should have just been an equal opportunity from day one.
Exactly. I mean, they don't deserve any of that privilege, right?
No. If it was equal opportunity from day one, then we wouldn't be here, folks.
No one has privilege. Exactly.
But y'all decided that wasn't going to be the case. So we have to work with things on your terms, and this is DEI on your terms, folks, and you still don't want it because you're still embedded with that unconscious and conscious racism that is embedded in so many of us.
Or they just don't like to feel that they're no longer superior. Oh, you mean, in Roman university, that I don't get to get the first pick? That's not good. That's oppression. I don't want the idea to be abolished, because I always want to be the person who have the first opportunities to pick whatever I want.
I just want to really kind of unpack what actually DEI policies actually do, right? We know that if they're not enforced, they cost money, they give us lawsuits, and they actually make our world backwards and back to where it used to be, where people were suffering greatly. So it creates safety in the workplace, right? Against discrimination, bullying, violence, unfair treatment of not only queer people, but women, children. Okay. There were a lot of laws that had to come into place because people were making their children work, right? Instead of an education, right? And so now there's laws that say, or age discrimination, those who are elderly, right? Like DEI also protects people who are elderly and working, right? Black people, Asian people, people from the global majority, indigenous people, right? People from the global south, those with disabilities, those with religious or ethnic differences or practices. Right? Like DEI encompasses all of those things. And when you have, let's say, even any kind of intersection with any of those, all the more do you rely on those, because the systems and the places that were created by white supremacy, by white privilege, are not safe at all. Right? It creates equal opportunities. When you use DEI, you're tapping into talent, skills, experiences, language, perspectives needed, which are otherwise overlooked, right? And we've talked about this before. If you want to launch your business into, let's say, the South Asian market, you're not going to just hire a bunch of people from Germany who don't speak any languages other than German and English, right?
Yes,
you want people who know the culture, they know the language, they know how to make those business deals, right? So DEI also, I'm just going to pull up another, I'm new with these little screenshots here. You're welcome. But actually, if you do not have good DEI practices, you can lose 19%, almost 20% in your revenue. So this is by a consulting firm. They did a scan of like over 300 agencies. And so companies on the left, companies with below average diversity scores, they had about 26% average innovation revenue reported by these companies. Companies with above average diversity scores were at 45%, so 20% higher. So this is innovation. These are people doing different things, new things, not traditional, because they're tapping into people and ideas and places and traditions and perspectives that are not, typical of
one single demographic.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the other thing, HR, oh my gosh, HR. So Forbes put out this article, and they said that if you have a strong DEI practice, you can reduce your HR claims by 10%, right? So even if you take a 1,000 person company, that 10% savings translates into 50 hours of saved internal staff time and one saved claim from going to litigation, which saves close to about $30,000 in lawyer's fees. That's just for one case. Right? Like that's a lot of money, and especially for medium-sized businesses. So in Canada, most of the businesses that make up Canada are small to medium size.
Yes.
right? So if you don't even have that, that's expensive for a business owner. That is so
I mean,
expensive.
HR is lawsuit. Yeah, HR situations are always
Yeah.
messy and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
why you always need to have representation in your group, in your leadership. So make sure,
Mm-hmm.
the diversity of it definitely can help you to reduce the HR claims.
Right. Exactly. There's actually, with stronger DEI practices, there's 2.3 times more cash flow per employee.
Ooh,
So
more money for the company.
more money. We're talking more money, folks. We're talking okay, so you're not going to do it for the humanitarian reasons, and this is what makes the whole claim against Costco and other companies so ridiculous. There is no financial risk for incorporating DEI. In fact, there's greater risk if you don't. And that's what we're trying to show you, right? Or lawsuits, right? And then staff turnover is huge, okay, in businesses. I'm going to share this with you. So if people want to know exactly kind of what is the cost to replace an employee, right? So this data shows that actually it's 1/3 of that person's annual salary. So let's say you hired a person, paid them $60,000 a year. To replace that person, if they ended up quitting too soon, that's going to cost you $1/3. Yeah, $20,000. I can do math. $20,000 for that one employee. Gallup research actually said it's even higher, that it could be 1/2 to 2 times the original employee's salary. So that's $60,000. It could be actually $120,000.
Yeah.
Or it could be, right? So it's high. And I don't understand, again, there's no financial risk to adopting DEI. There's even far risk, I would argue, by not adopting DEI. Thoughts, Hoshin?
Thought is, I mean, this is not new to me, obviously.
Sure, of course.
It's not new to me. I never, in the idea, doubted that having DEI will help the company, because I know in a diverse environment, there's always more understanding. There's more, more perspective and talent and cooperation to come together to make things happen. I think with people that are, in the global majority, right, that we know what it is to not work hard. So we always have this kind of incentive to work harder, to contribute, to make things happen, because we always have to, especially immigrants that would live in a foreign country, that we know we have to work hard to do our best, to provide, to stay in a country, to live a new life. I think even that alone makes diverse workplace just way more together, way more efficient, way more like multi-layered in terms of contribution. So I never doubted that DEI helps a company in any way. And that's, again, we were talking about numbers, we're talking about like how we actually benefits the business, but there's another element of it, just it's just the right thing to do. Why do you want to discriminate people?
It is. People aren't a threat. If people are a threat, you gotta check yourself, man. And you've got to say, why do I think that person's a threat? Like that should never be on the other person. That's on us and our own perceptions. Right?
Yeah, I agree. It just at the end of the day, it's just the right thing to do. You don't have to. I sometimes also feel a bit like we have to literally convince people that
I know
not being not discriminatory is the right, like how sometimes I realize like such a funny thing to convince people that, and give them the money aspect of it.
I know.
It's really funny.
I know. It is.
Well,
it is.
Also
and some people, I mean, you look at some of the changes, and we've mentioned this before, but some of the changes like the civil rights movement, or even some of the things that we see actually creating the change we want to see, is just impacting the white man's pocket.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, I absolutely agree. The only way to the only way that the people up there, the powerful people, the men usually, to get them out of their comfortable seat and to help you, is to affect the money that go into the bank account. Otherwise, they will never move their ass.
Exactly.
That's the harsh reality of how things are going to work.
Yeah. Well, Hoshin, to end, what does this mean for us? And what do you have any suggestions on what we should do, like just from our little corners of Vancouver and Victoria, or those who are listening, anyone who's listening?
I think just to support, like, of course we need to support it. Like, no matter even it's your company or a little group that you are in or whatever, like maybe a volunteer thing that you're doing. If there's any DEI initiative, you should support, try your best. Or if there's no DEI initiative, then maybe you should be the one who to propose it, to initiate it. I'm actually remind me like the volleyball team that I'm in, like a Thankful for Gay volleyball team. We actually just started her DEI last year. Started a DEI initiative last season. Most people think it's a good thing, but then when the DEI initiative was talking about that we should change the name because our name is Vancouver Gay Men Volleyball League. Volleyball.
Okay.
And then the DEI initiative, one of the proposals was to change the name because the gay man part is not really inclusive to the queer community. Not everyone identify as a man. And if everyone like the word gay, we can just be a queer league. For example, and not to our surprise, actually, a lot of older gay men in the league was like, why do we need to change the name? What's wrong with the name? They don't even see it, so like that also is a great reminder to me and to I think a lot of people in the league that's why we need to change it. That's why we need a DEI initiative, because there's still, even in our league as queer men, even within ourselves, we still have people that does not really understand how to be inclusive.
Right.
So support, please.
It is. Be the voice at any level of your employment. If you're upper management, if you're CEO, CFO, if you are at the very bottom, whatever level you are, advocate for those DEI initiatives, right? Because
absolutely,
and I would say also remind people that DEI has an incredible positive impact. It is overwhelmingly positive and valuable. There is nothing to be lost except our racist tendencies, except our privileged ideas that we're entitled to everything, right? And I'm speaking specifically to white people, right? And that sometimes the changes that we want to see will take time because to unearth
an energy,
but you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent.
And I also understand like you'll be uncomfortable for many people that does understand equality or the scope of oppression for other people, for global majority. This require a lot of time and energy to unlearn many things and also to learn many things, and that process is going to be uncomfortable for many of you. But that uncomfortableness is the key. If you can sit through the uncomfortableness, I promise you the other side is so much better. It's so much more free and inviting and liberating.
It really, really is. Yeah. And you have to lean into that uncomfortableness, like no change was made because you were just comfortable, right? No good things came about because you were sitting in your cozy seat. It became because it was surprise, or it took time, or it took some really reflection and change. And I think just to close, I want to just share this quote that I found. And I had seen it circulating on social media, but I thought it was a really powerful way to end this. So this is from John, I'm sorry, I think Amechi. I think that's how I say your last name. So for those of us, I hope so. John, reach out if it's wrong. But I'm going to read this quote. It says, quote, "White privilege doesn't mean you haven't worked hard or you don't deserve the success you've had. It doesn't mean your life isn't hard or you haven't suffered. It simply means your skin color has not been the cause of your hardship and suffering." End quote.
Love that. And
I feel like, yes, exactly. Because the system was set up for a certain skin tone and it wasn't set up for certain abilities and for certain skin tones and other things. So if you're listening to this and you're really, really struggling, like just really think about that and go Costco. That's all go Weenie Company, go hot dogs.
Yes, wieners.
Yes. Be the right kind of wiener. Don't be the wrong kind of wiener, if you know what I mean. NCPPR research.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, well, first Canadian Salad Pop Quiz of 2025, Hoshin.
Of the year, yes. Oh my God, can I start?
I know. You can.
I start first?
And should I keep a tally on who well, no, I won't do it. It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. Do not do that. It's traumatic. Oh my God.
I know.
Traumatic to me.
Go ahead.
That's okay. Okay, my question is very simple.
Okay.
I think you will get it, hopefully. Can you give me an estimate number of the advertising budget for Costco?
Ooh, good question. The advertising budget per year.
Yes, annually.
Annually, I'm going to say 500,000.
500,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Give you another chance.
Okay, 1,000,000?
A million, okay. The answer is 0.
They don't spend anything?
Essentially, yes. I mean, there's some sort of promotion things, maybe like email list to their members that you can count as advertising.
Sure.
But in general,
Yeah.
they don't. Have you ever seen a Costco billboard, a Costco ad? Have you ever
Commercial?
seen any of that?
No.
Have you ever seen any? No, exactly.
No.
Essentially, that their
Damn.
advertising budget is 0 because they don't really promote whatever there is to the outside world. They mostly do it internally to their member.
Because their reputation is so positive with the customer. You built that
Exactly.
trust from the beginning,
Exactly.
Mr. Price. Thank you. Yes.
They have a product that sells itself first.
Yep.
Everyone knows Costco has the lowest price of everything. So that is
Yep.
just general, everyone know. And because
Right.
the member, the second thing is because the member, they had a really loyal member in general. The member, of course, loves their product also just mouth to mouth. People just
Yeah.
know it in general. And the
Totally.
third thing, which is surprising, also their employees, also they are a great channel of advertising. They have one of the highest, they have a higher than average hourly rate. To their cashier. So
wow.
that few channel helps them in general, helps them to advertise rather than
See?
spending a lot of big budgets.
And I think if they just continue down their track of thinking about their customer and the things that they're doing, like this whole DEI, boycott, whatever. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I also just want to give you like a general in comparison how much for some of Walmart spent in 2022 is $3.9 billion.
Really?
Yeah, that's how much Walmart spends.
Dang.
I know.
And they just got rid of their DE. Okay.
Well, maybe that's why they need to spend that much money because they're not great.
Maybe, they have not provided good wages. There's a lot of horror stories out of Walmart. Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you? What is your question?
My question, Hoshin,
Yes.
as of end of last year, do you know how many Costcos there are in Canada?
Ooh, how many Costco? Like buildings within Canada. Within Canada. 120 stores.
Okay, close. Winner, chicken dinner. It's 109.
Close
so you're
enough.
11 off. I know. I'm going to give it to you. Ding, 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 ding. Finger applause. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah,
Thank you,
109. There are 14 in British Columbia. And big surprise, Ontario's got the most at 40. So more people. Makes sense.
More people, yes. Okay.
Yes, yeah. So, thank you, Hoshin.
Thank you
it was a great episode. And
it was a great thank you intro, yeah.
Yes, if you appreciate this format of sharing the screen, because I'm gonna try and amplify us on YouTube a bit more, because that visual content is always very good. Let us know, and you can see our beautiful faces too, and the places that we visit, and Hoshin's beautiful hat display
collection
in the background.
Collection
of hats, and this picture that is not my own because I'm not at home. Anyway, so check us out and let us know what you think. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram as long as they're not both banned this year. We'll see. And we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. Woohoo. Canadian Salad is written and produced in British Columbia, Canada by Hoshin Ho and Andrea McCoy. Theme music is by Naver Avatyan from Pixabay.
This has been a good Drinklin production.